This episode is for all the downtrodden nerds out there, represented somehow by a wildly successful millionaire philanthropist. It's TSOL lost backwards. Hello and welcome to TSOL Lost Backwards, the series where I watch the television show Lost in reverse chronological order and see if I can make any sense of it. I'm Eric Eberly, and I'm the right hand of the King of the Nerds today. We begin with either a long introduction or a Those We Lost This Year focused on the nerd. He's apparently some international business mogul, leveraging his chicken franchise empire into photo ops with giant scissors. After receiving an award for saving the city from a bunch of T-Rexes or something, his mother starts busting his balls about not having a girlfriend and tells him he's going out with his father's brother's sister's cousin's former roommate or something. Cut to a grave marked Libby. I guess the date went super poorly. I mean, I've been on some stinkers in my life, but they've never ended in a graveyard, though I guess I've never dated a goth. Oh wait, we're back on the island. The nerd dialogues with a grave and is interrupted by someone wanting to go look for dynamite to blow up the plane. He tells her about all the fun he and Dead Girl would have had, then the force starts whispering, and some black guy shows up and tells the nerd he's got to stop them or he's gonna get everyone killed. Angry violins shriek, and then we have the opening credits. The nerd keeps dialoguing with the new character, and then Handsome comes up, and we are shown that this new guy is something different because the nerd can see him, but Handsome can't. Double invisible ghost, I guess. Back in some generic Mexican restaurant, the nerd is possibly being stood up. After being aggressively pitied by the waiter, his date shows up. Being that she's a regular, pretty blonde woman, we come to realize that she had to be late because this is TV, and the only dates who are on time are those who the protagonist gets to play comedic foil to. Wait, okay, so she's not his date. She's just some crazy lady who wandered into the restaurant. That's not me being reductive or anything. A doctor literally shows up in the middle of their conversation, blocks the nerd, and then rushes her outside to get into a van that's going to a mental institution. Islandward, the Dynamite Tomb Raider lady shows her haul to Eyeliner Guy. The nerd stammers into view and explains that the dynamite is unstable, details he learned playing Counter-Strike, no doubt. Tomb Raider insists that she's looking out for their best interests by stranding them on the island with the black smoke monster. As punishment for trying to monologue rather than dialogue, the TNT goes F you and blows Tomb Raider up. Terrorists win. In the other camp, Blonde Guy, Kate, and Baldy trialogue about whittling and semantics. Saeed shows up with the cast of the Warriors to tell Baldy he's found Desmond and the submarine. Baldy tries to convince him he should kill more often, but he's Batman, and that's just not his thing. Post-explosion, Nerd and Eyeliner get looting. Eyeliner shows his susceptibility to the gambler's fallacy and wants to try the dynamite again. Thinking the explosion was pretty cool, the nerd reverses his decision and says that they should go get dynamite. That word gets weirder every time I say it. Dynamite, 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 dynamite. Back in Chicken Land, Nerd orders a large bucket of chicken from Neil Schreiber with the same tone and lack of conviction of George McFly ordering a milk chocolate. Mid-shame eating the whole thing, he notices Desmond watching him. Desmond recognizes him from the same flight as everyone's been on, because serious jet setters always remember which flight they're on. The nerd mirrors all of our annoyance that the plot relies so much on coincidence. Then the two dialogue about women. Oh. Des suggests that in this topsy-turvy world, isn't it really the crazy people who know what's up? Island Desmond is being interrogated by Baldy, who's playing the comparatively good cop. Desmond was apparently brought back to the island by someone whose name I don't know if we've been introduced to yet, and quote, blasted with electromagnetism. Who says it like that? Say he subjected you to a magnetic field, or he electrocuted you, or gave you 100 MRIs in a row, or made you eat magnets, or something. Oh, you know what it was like by experience? Unless you've got shrapnel in your body, or prison tattoos, or something, You'd be talking about a field of a strength of hundreds of Teslas before they'd even start to affect your biology, and then you'd have to be on the surface of a magnetar or something, and the gravity alone would kill you. Okay, rant over. Eyeliner, Johnny Ghost Talker, Captain, Weasel, Handsome, and Soon hump through the jungle while Weasel conspiracy theorizes about the island blowing up Tomb Raider, and they're all probably next. They stumble upon an old Pirates of the Caribbean set, then the nerd runs out and it explodes. He explains how he just wanted to kill a franchise before they had an opportunity to make a 5th movie, and then Eyeliner Guy is pissed off because he just ordered a sweet Jack Sparrow costume. Oh, they're already making a 5th movie. Okay, to stop them from making a 6th. The nerd explains to Johnny Ghost Talker that he only did it because a dead person told him to do it. Over in the insane asylum, Nerd and the doctor dialogue vaguely about Libby's condition. The nerd offers a generous donation to be able to see her, since the Hippocratic Oath is only viable under 6 figures. Libby tells him about a flood of memories after seeing his commercial, memories of being on an island. This is possibly the biggest reveal to date, because up until now I've been assuming that all of this real world stuff is a flashback. But maybe it's the island that's the flashback? Or time is cyclical? Or it's a multiverse? Metaphysical implications are brushed aside, and the nerd asks her out. A victory for nerds everywhere. Island side, Eyeliner is just hell-bent on blowing up the plane using anything he can muster. He doesn't really seem the hero type, more the guy who would try to use the plane to escape and then get killed by the monster. The nerd claims to know what to do, saying Jacob, or an empty patch of the jungle, told him to go and talk to Baldy. Eyeliner says nuh-uh, the nerd says yes huh, and the party splits up. The next scene, which is naturally in the middle of the night, the nerd is venting his insecurities and lets Handsome know he was lying about seeing an invisible Jacob just so people would listen to him. Because telling people you're seeing people who aren't there is an awesome way to get them to trust your decision making. They dialogue about predestination and protagonism. Handsome clearly knows this whole nerd-centric episode is a temporary thing. The jungle starts whispering again, and Nerd goes off to talk with Mr. Invisible Ghost. He dialogues with the nerd about the nature of the haunting, by which I mean he says and explains nothing. Then he points out Baldy's camp and disappears to go haunt some lichen. On a beach, that's a real world beach, not one of these island beaches. Nerd and Libby have a picnic date. This multiverse theory is starting to sound a little more likely because earlier, Nerd told Tomb Raider that he and Libby were going to go on their first date, a picnic, when she died, but now they're here on this beach having that picnic date. Oh, Libby says basically what I just told you, and then goes to kiss Nerd, and he has one of those everything through a different colored lens filter flashback. You know, the kind that the first episode we did was lousy with. This either proves that Libby isn't crazy, or that they're both crazy to an identical degree, and isn't that what true love is really about? Desmond the Flashback Fairy smiles on from a parked car. On the island, Baldy shows Desmond a well. This might be the same well that other child was doing all the mining in giant flashback episode. They dialogue about ancient tools and answers and men who lust for power. Baldy questions Desmond's lack of fear in the middle of the jungle with a dangerous fellow like him, and Desmond is irritatingly zen, forcing Baldy to drop him down the well. I'm sort of wondering if, in this whole multiverse thing, Desmond is some sort of an anomaly. Maybe he's immune to the forces of quantum mechanics? He seems like the connection with these two worlds, or at least is aware that there are multiple worlds happening. Maybe he's the Doctor from Doctor Who. After a post-murder stroll, Baldy returns to camp just in time to meet the Nerd and Company, the group formerly known as Handsome and Company. After the least tense standoff, they join together just in time for us to flash parallelly to Baldy in a wheelchair crossing a road in front of a school. Fairy godmother Desmond is eyeing him and wondering who he'll have to kiss to trigger his flashback when the Weasel shows up, part of the anti-perv patrol. Unconvincing dialogue ensues and Desmond drives off and then drives right over Baldy. Tune in next week to see who Desmond introduces to the love of her life. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at lost_backwards or my webpage, TSOL lostbackwards.wordpress.com, and of course, follow me on YouTube.